I started directing plays when I was in high school. The director had to take a leave for a few weeks and asked me to take over the production that was taking place, and so that was my first taste of theater, actually directing. And then in college, I was involved in theater, but the first real serious directing where I was going to pull a salary was when I started teaching school, and part of my teacher job description was directing high school plays. And then after I quit teaching, I became involved with the local high school, and even though I wasn't teaching, they asked me to continue to direct some of the high school plays, and that took me into community theater. And so over the years, I've directed probably upwards of 50, 60, 75 plays. When I got involved in theater, I think my favorite part really became ability to interpret the productions. I once had visions of becoming an actor out of college and soon found that that was going to be a possibility. So for me, the next best thing was to direct plays and then insert my creative ideas into the play as I blocked it and cast the characters. When I'm directing, what I always feel is the most important thing, especially given the idea that I'm not working with professionals, working with community people, working with high school people, the most important thing for me has always been to get the cast of characters to feel at ease and relaxed on stage. That is, to me, the most important thing to start with. You know, when we look at Madison and all of its fine arts and culture, I think we're really privileged to have the support of this community, especially the time, effort, and money they put into the Prairie Arts Center. As a director, it's really a great privilege to have that structure, that space available for theater. People have always asked, so how did you get into organic farming back when it really wasn't there? And I tell a quick story of when I was a child growing up. My parents had this magazine laying on the countertop called Organic Gardening and Farming. And there'd be conversation going on about it, but as a 10-year-old, you really thought about it, but you didn't really resonate with it. And so when I did have an opportunity to go farming, those thoughts and ideas started coming back. And I had a few older mentors at that time who were also interested in it, was able to connect with them, and together that's how we were able to move forward with it. A question that comes up to me is, you know, what do people need to know? Why do organic? And to me, it really comes down to three basic things. It's economics, ecology, and sociology. And what we've always tried to do is to generate enough income for farmers to be able to stay on the land, enough income that we can keep more people rather than fewer people engaged in agriculture, and as equally important is that everything we do with the land is done to protect the land and enhance it and be able to pass it on to our next generations. Farming and theater, I've had that asked many times of me, and I guess I love theater. It also was an opportunity for me to be creative. I've always felt that to be a good organic farmer, you had to be fairly creative because it wasn't always just reading labels and direction. It's the same thing with theater. And as I had mentioned earlier, being able to be creative by interpreting the production and then helping the cast itself to interpret their characters was so fulfilling. And the other thing is, theater was in many ways 180 degrees from my day-to-day farming occupation. So many evenings I would spend a whole day farming, and at 7 o'clock be out at the high school working with a bunch of high school kids, enjoying every minute of it. And it was just a total release from all the tensions of the day, and at the same time having the opportunity to try something new. The journey of theater, I can't even see an end to it yet. But I like how when I started out directing my first play in high school, not knowing really what I was doing, but today being able to take on almost any production and feeling confident that I can make it worthwhile. I think my quality of directing is really a lot more of substance than it was when I started out. And it was strictly by doing it and working with so many great people and having good community and school support.
Postcards is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota. Additional support provided by Margaret A. Cargill Philanthropies, Mark and Margaret Yakel-Julien on behalf of Shalom Hill Farms, a retreat and conference center in a prairie setting near Windham, Minnesota. On the web at shalomhillfarm.org. Alexandria, Minnesota, a year-round destination with hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for memorable vacations and events. More information at explorealex.com. The Lake Region Arts Council's Arts Calendar, an arts and cultural heritage funded digital calendar showcasing upcoming art events and opportunities for artists in West Central Minnesota. On the web at lrac4calendar.org. Playing today's new music plus your favorite hits, 96.7 Cram. Online at 967cram.com.